How to spot and adapt to others' styles. How to spot one. One of the distinct benefits of the DiSC model is that it is possible to identify another person's core or primary style quite easily. This is especially true if it is a strong style. In this case, we need to be the most attentive to our own style lest it conflicts with theirs. We can use a number of sources of information from which to deduce another person's primary style, typically recollections of how they speak and what they speak about, emails and other documents that they have authored, and how they interact with us. For example, let's look at how those with each style tend to talk. Those with a D or a C style are task focused, so talk about tasks, actions, quantities, timelines, outputs, results, milestones and checkpoints. Those with an I or an S style are more people focused, so talk about people, responsibilities, feelings, commitment, consequences, etc. Those with a D or an I style are more direct, so will typically speak loudly, openly, assertively, sometimes aggressively or spontaneously, honestly and boldly. And those with an S or a C style are more indirect. They'll speak more quietly, only if asked, reflectively, little and timidly, and perhaps ask questions. Let's look at some specific examples of what people might say and what that tells us about their probable primary style. These are colour-coded to highlight the clues to the styles: red for dominance, yellow for influence, green for steadiness, and blue for compliance. Come on, this is taking forever. We just need to make the decision and get on with it. Dominance. Before we decide, we need to make sure that we have all the data that is available before a decision is made. Compliance. Let's cut to the chase and produce a short report that can be out before the end of the day. Dominance. It's great that we're being recognised as a great team. Influence. This has to be done correctly. Let's ensure that the details have been thoroughly checked before they go out. Compliance. Chris says that we should help the team. If we do, we can ensure that they take past experience into account and avoid getting themselves into difficulty. Steadiness. This project is really exciting, and I just know we're going to have a whale of a time working together on it. Influence. I agree, we need to agree on the approach. A step-by-step review of the plan will help us to agree and know we've not missed anything. Steadiness and compliance. Let's get started. How many can you produce by the end of the week? Dominance. Let's get really creative and organise a themed dinner to recognise the winner. Influence. We need to be very careful. Perhaps we should review what happened last time we did that, especially how people reacted. Steadiness. I'm concerned that you did not like my report. It's based on the very latest data that is available. Compliance. Imagine how much easier it is to identify someone's primary style if we've had numerous interactions with them. We may even be able to identify their secondary style. How best to communicate with and adapt to one. To better understand how to communicate with someone with another style, we also need to understand what they fear or about which they are concerned. D. Dominance. These are task and direct focused. They fear losing control or failure, so avoid suggesting or intimating that these may happen unless you're doing so deliberately to gain their attention and will be quickly providing a solution. To connect well with someone with a primary D style, be proactive, keep communications concise, talk about outputs, quantities, quality and timelines, avoid excuses, focus on what can be done. Talk straight and to the point, and don't make them wait. Note, you may want to say to a strong D, stop pushing so hard. But remember, what they are thinking is, we need to get started now. I. Influence. These are people focused and direct. They fear conflict, being viewed negatively and being left out. So make significant use of we and actively involve them, especially in discussions about what needs to be achieved or done. Proactively seek their input. To connect well with someone with a primary I style, give them opportunities to express their opinions, listen to and recognise them for their input. If possible, give them a public forum. Make goals clear and challenge them to produce new ideas on how to achieve those goals, and seek their ideas on how to engage with others. You may want to say to a strong I, "Stop, keep talking." But remember, they may be thinking, we need to get to know each other and all get excited about this. S for steadiness. These are people, focused and indirect. They fear insecurity, uncertainty and losing face. So make sure that they're kept informed proactively and that they understand their "what's in it for me" or WIFM, and reassure them when appropriate. To connect well with someone with a primary S style, actively engage them by keeping them informed of what may happen. Seek their counsel whilst assuring them that the results will ultimately be positive. Make clear that you consider the people issues and take steps to acknowledge their concerns, especially if these are not to be met, in which case provide explanations. You may want to say to a strong S, "Don't always resist new ideas." But remember, they're probably thinking, we need to be careful not to throw away what works well for us. C. Compliance. These are task-focused and indirect. They fear disorganisation, mistakes and arguments over details. So actively seek their input, acknowledge their knowledge and expertise, keep them promptly and fully informed, and keep conversations to facts. Avoid abstract topics and opinions. To connect well with someone with a primary C style, provide them with data, seek their input when appropriate, recognise the quality of their contributions, especially the comprehensiveness, accuracy and their analysis. Stick to facts and the task in hand, and avoid providing criticism whenever possible, as this may trigger some defensiveness. You may want to say to a strong C, "Don't be so theoretical and picky." But remember, they may well be thinking, before we do anything, we must make sure we have all the facts and understand them thoroughly. How to get the best out of our DiSC profile to enhance our personal impact. We all have the ability to adapt our behaviour and to draw on any one of the 4 DiSC styles. Obviously, it's much easier to do that with our high-scoring preferred style or styles, and more difficult with those with lower scores. But, and this is the critically important issue, highly successful people do make those adjustments. So, in summary, to increase our personal impact and effectiveness, we need to be conscious of the extent to which we're likely to use each style. For example, ask ourselves questions such as, what is my primary style or styles? What is my least used style or styles? What are the benefits and consequences of those tendencies? Secondly, identify those with whom we need to make the biggest change, those with whom we need to enhance our effectiveness or impact the most. And then, identify if we can their primary style or styles. For example, ask ourselves questions such as, what do they tend to speak about most, task or people? How do they tend to communicate most, proactively, assertively and openly? Or merely responsively, reflectively, quietly and succinctly? Then think about the nature of our current and potential interactions. How do our respective styles match or clash? How do our respective styles suit the type of interactions we have? How may they perceive me given my primary style or styles? Which style do I need to make less use of? Which style do I need to make more use of? And lastly, decide how best to adapt our communications and approach to make them more effective. For example, ask ourselves questions such as, do I need to talk more about the task, outputs, results, numbers and times, or about people, relationships, positions, titles, feelings, influence and engagement? Do I need to present more data and information, or present logical arguments and explanations? Do I need to explain issues around feelings, buy-in, commitment and engagement? Do I need to be more direct, or perhaps more indirect? Do I need to say more or less than I typically would? Only we can decide how to behave, but knowledge and understanding of DiSC can greatly assist us in making targeted adaptations and thus enable us to increase our personal impact and effectiveness.